Yeah,
So
things like Zelux Mustangs as well. They're a finalist in Tier 2.
ooh, yeah,
They're
Zelux
to watch out
Mustangs.
for.
Yeah, true.
They
In Group
lost to
C.
Illusional Gaming yesterday. So it was a close game. It was a very tight game all along. Illusional won a 4-2, but it was both teams played very well.
So coming up now, we've got the next game coming. It's Breakdown Krypton versus Clapped Esports. And if we just take a quick look at the rosters there, Krypton, they've got Droopy, Mr. Chaz, and Swift, and Clapped, we've got Death Smiles. To my knowledge, the sub for Clapped will be playing in place of maybe Jules, and then they've also got Syncraftian. Ben, what can you tell us about any of these players?
Well, Death Smiles was the MVP of that game against Excalibur that I mentioned beforehand. He's got some amazing passing plays going on. He's made a lot of nice little redirect passes and some nice little flicks and stuff to put it into the center. And he's a real midfield he's an absolute beast in the midfield in the ways he plays transition plays and stuff. And yeah, I think he's probably going to be the main key, especially without maybe Jules on that team. I think he's the next one we should be looking out for there. Yeah, I'll be having my eyes on Death Smiles this fixture.
On Death Smiles, yeah. It'll be interesting as well to see Overload play, because he just come in for maybe Jules, I believe representing himself from Luxembourg. And I'm sure that he will be looking to make an impact as a sub to sort of say, hey, you know what? I can play in the first team too.
Yeah, definitely big shoes to fill though, I guess. There's a... maybe Jules has been a prolific scorer for Claps all through the IGL season, so it's
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we look at the stats here, and you've got Clapped Esports there, maybe Jules with 3.4 goals per game and averaging 317 points. Syncraftian there, 373 points, so definitely a prominent player in the team. And we've given the teams an overall strength rating based on their statistical history. And we've got Clapped with a strength of 70 and Breakdown Krypton with a strength of 64. Would you say that the stats are accurate in this case, Ben?
Well, yeah, it makes sense that maybe Jules was scoring the majority of their goals, but yeah, I think that's not saying that there's the other players in the team aren't pulling their weight. They definitely maybe Jules is obviously getting the service from the teammates, so yeah, I think yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Overload fills those shoes in that position. But yeah, I suppose it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think it's pretty evenly spread across the board though for Claps on the whole. But yeah, I think it'd be statistically these two teams look pretty even. I guess more goals coming from the Claps side, but again, I didn't tell you about how the defenses are matching up and that kind of thing. So yeah, it could be a close game.
For sure, Morky. So your prediction for this game?
So my prediction is entirely relying on Swifty, who is kind of that midfield general for Breakdown. If Swifty plays well, finds us passes and get the assists, I think it's going to be a very close series. Probably see a game 5. If Swifty's not performing, then it's going to be a 3-0 to Clapped Esports, in my opinion.
Ooh, a 3-0 to Clapped Esports. That's a bold prediction. Ben, what's your prediction?
It's a close one, but I'll be leaning in the 3-2 for Breakdown Krypton, just on the basis that I don't know what synergy and Claps will have with the new sub coming in, and if they might miss maybe Jules too much. So I think 3-2 to Breakdown Krypton for me.
I like that. A game 5 going all the way, Ben. How many overtimes?
At least 4.
At least 4 overtimes. You love to hear it. But we've got for me, I think I would go 3-2 as well, but I'm going to go Clapped. I think that Overload's going to come through and he's going to shake things up. Sometimes you have that honeymoon period when a new player comes in and you just pop off, you know. So I'm backing Clapped for this one. But we will be heading over to the game in just a second. But everyone, welcome Krypton to the field. And that was an introduction for Breakdown. And we will be heading over now to the game. And I will be joined casting by Morky Mork. And we will come back to Ben later for his analysis on the game. So guys, here we go. Game number 1, round 1, day 1 of Projekt Cypher. And it would be nice if Rocket League would appear. We are all in the lobby. We're ready to go. It's Breakdown Krypton versus Clapped Esports in the first game of day one. And they will be getting the tournament underway, and they will be looking to make an impression. Morky, what do you think is going to happen? You think we're going to have some bangers today?
Oh, I think so. Both teams have got really good goal scorers. Again, for me, the key player for either side is going to be Swifty. If Swifty's on it, then it's going to be a very, very interesting series. But I think if he's not, they're going to have trouble really getting a hold of midfield, which is what they need to do in order to really get the win out here. But I think we're going to see some really good goals in this match today.
Yeah, and the teams are ready to go. And we're about to get underway, and I don't know, Morky, but I'm so excited for this. I'm
also pumped. Here we go.
Super pumped. Breakdown Krypton versus Clapped Esports, and we're underway for game number one. It is Overload who wins that kick off. Syncraftian following up, gets that to the backboard, and it's Swifty. You can see it out, and he goes for a long back. Had a bit of time there. Could have maybe taken it. Mr. Chaz trying to get the follow. Now it's Death Smiles with the ball, but the recovery was weak, and now it's back again with Krypton. A bit of a shaky start, Morky.
Yeah, definitely. And already, Swifty's looking for those passes off the backboard. Yeah, he might have had a bit more time to maybe find that pass, but he knew where Mr. Chaz was early on, so that's showing already that Swifty's playing well. But here comes Droopy now, bringing up the field. Can he get across in the centre? Not quite able to. Already though, Breakdown Krypton looking in a bit of trouble.
Krypton indeed not managing quite to break through there. It's Clapped Esports now on the attack. Sin gets it past one. Overload out wide, trying to get the pressure on, and he will keep the pressure up. That goes to the backboard, gets another touch here to take it away from Swifty. Droopy only just managing to get away. The shot from Sin, and a huge save from Swifty to keep the score 0-0 in the first minute. Now it's on the other side. Death Smiles getting it down. Swifty with the follow. That's surely on target. Denied by the crossbar. Sin getting a touch. And it will fall to the corner where Mr. Chaz keeps the ball tied up. Death Smiles with the challenge. And just about winning this 50 as he flicks it into the middle to get the pass to Overload. But Droopy with a quick challenge keeps the pressure on. And Clapped Esports at the moment struggling to get out of their half.
Definitely. Clapped Esports are definitely struggling. Breakdown Krypton really dominating that midfield. Like I said, was necessary for them. But they pass it. Mr. Chaz is never denied by Death Smiles. But already, only a bit of pressure so far from Clapped Esports. They're going to need to get more pressure on the board and win that midfield better. Or else they're going to have a very hard time in this match with the backboard. Look at the attempts. Six is there, but I think that one's going to go on the backboard away.
And it's Overload there on up front. That falls for Death Smiles, and he gets it right down in front of net, but there's no one there. Mr. Chaz almost putting that one in the back of his own net. Sin now trying to challenge Swifty, but Swifty will get this one long, and it's Droopy. He doesn't need to get a touch, and it's 1-0. We've got the first goal of Projekt Cypher, and it comes from Breakdown Krypton.
It's just a hidden hope. Miss Droopy is there, to be fair. It's a nice attempt, but it just goes over everybody into the back of the net, and that makes it 1-0. Swifty already showing his importance here for Breakdown Krypton.
Breakdown Krypton, they take the lead. They have the first impact in the tournament, and that will be one to remember. Not the prettiest goal we've ever seen, but you're going to take it here. And these teams probably feeling the pressure of being the first teams to play, and just how important is this game, Morky?
This game is going to be huge. Both teams need to kind of not only dictate the pace of each other's team, but also kind of read how they're playing. Right now, I feel that Breakdown Krypton have got a better shake of how Clapped Esports are better playing than Clapped Esports do with Breakdown Krypton. And they're really struggling to get out of their half, and that's something they have to really adjust quickly in this next 2.5 minutes if they're going to have a chance of winning this series.
And we do indeed still have half the game to go, and it's Death Smiles now with the shot. What a solo play! He makes it 1-1, and Clapped Esports right back into this.
Yeah, right as I was saying, they're in trouble. The Death Smiles was saying, yeah, I'm just going to take this myself, boys, and puts it in the net. Lovely bouncy play, and then flips it over the last defender into the top corner. 1-0.
Right into those upper Benjamins. And it is now Sin right from the kickoff. He's able to get a follow on this one. Will get a touch, gets it to the corner. And now Swifty playing it downfield. Overload gets in the way. It's a good challenge from him, but the ball still tied up there in the midfield. Mr. Chaz now getting it over. Great pass over to Droopy, but what can Droopy do? Gets a shot away to the backboard. He had Mr. Chaz in support. Mr. Chaz is there. Gets it to the post. Not quite for Krypton there. And now it's Overload trying to get the ball out of his half, but Droopy managing to keep that pressure on. Death Smiles fortunately getting to that ball first. And now it's Sin who can put the pressure on here for Claps. Swifty having a hard time with that ball as he floats in the air and wiggles around and still denying Clapped Esports from getting into the lead here. Overload staying with this ball, really being harassed. And it's Droopy with a chance, the 1v1, and Sin makes the save.
Clapped Esports definitely starting to find their feet here, managing to really get good pressure in their opponent's half. Dominate midfield now a bit more, but Breakdown Krypton are still in this game and they still have the ability to win the half. As a lovely challenge there in the backboard by Sin. Droopy's there, bringing this ball up. What can he do from here? Not much. Overload waiting, but Droopy gets a fire. Is there going to be a no save by Sin? What a good save.
What a fantastic save, and the score still remains 1-1. And this is the first game we asked for. Tied up, and it's so close, and this is what you want. It's top tier content, Morky.
Absolutely. It's always better to cast matches that are close. I know for the players, they might be a bit sweaty right now, especially knowing how close the series is going to be. But for the viewers and for us as casters, it's always what you want to see. A very close game with loads of chances and loads of good saves and team plays and individual plays. But what could happen here? Let's do a pass. Jazzo just couldn't get a touch off the wall.
And it is indeed, you know, we try not to be biased to casters, and we never are biased for a team, but we're biased for the entertainment. We love a game 5, we love a game 5 overtime, and it is Sin now putting on the pressure. The time is running down. If there's another goal before overtime, that will likely be the winner. It is Droopy trying to get it middle, gets the bump on Decimal's. There's 7 seconds left on the clock. It is Swifty who gets to this ball first, gets into the backboard. Sin flailing forward, it's Droopy. He makes it 2-1, and with 3 seconds on the clock, surely that's game number 1.
And again, it's Swifty. I talked about him in the pre-show, how important he is. Lovely pass on the backboard. But at the only place that Droopy will get to it first, and he slots it home. 2-1, 3 seconds left. Important kickoff.
A huge, huge goal for Breakdown Krypton. They just managed to steal this game away. Sin keeping it up, but Mr. Chaz with the challenge. We're still on 0 seconds. And Droopy looking to make it 3-1, and he does! He makes it 3-1. They only needed 3 seconds. The clock frozen on 0. That ball would not come down, and it's Droopy who takes the lead even further.
Absolutely brilliant work goal. To be fair to Clapped Esports, they had to keep it up, and so they left themselves vulnerable to that kind of play. But still, the shot from Droopy was fantastic. He got up weird, but still managed to correct himself and put that into the top bins.
Right into those top bins. Breakdown Krypton now 1 game up. They are the first team in Projekt Cypher to take a game, and they will be looking to carry this momentum further into this series. Clapped Esports, they've got some talking to do. They've got to figure it out. Sitting there with 5 saves, trying to deny Breakdown Krypton, but they just couldn't get it going, Morky.
No, they had opportunities as well. Like, the goal was from Death Smiles. It's a beautiful individual play, but apart from really about 30 seconds of good pressure in their opponent's half, they were struggling to get over their own half. They're struggling to really dominate that midfield, and that's what I was talking about Breakdown Krypton. Breakdown Krypton want to dominate that midfield because that gives them the platform to win, and you saw how strong they are. When they have that domination midfield, they spend a lot of time in your half.
Krypton did indeed manage to hold onto the pressure, and they did that very, very well. Clapped Esports, they created a couple of chances, but it just looked tough for them to string the passes together. And it's immediately Droopy with the pressure. Swifty with the follow overload. Can't get to that one. And it seems to me like the sub for Clapped Esports is having a bit of a hard time getting adjusted to things. Hopefully, as the series goes on, he will find his feet. Can definitely tell he wants it, and he's got quite the momentum. He's good at the recoveries, and he's trying to stay relevant as much as possible. Decimal's there looking to get the bump on Mr. Chaz, just about denied. Decimal's trying to pop that one up to keep it away from Krypton and deny them the possession, and it's overload again in the midfield, but can't get it away from Mr. Chaz, who then plays that up to the backboard. Decimal's with good backboard defense, and that comes now into the middle. It's Sin. He's got a bit of time and space, but tries to ping one away, but a great save was from Swifty with the backflip. Decimal's keeping the pressure on. Overload really deep in his own half at the net. That surely should put him in a good position for the save, though, as Sin also gets the demo on Mr. Chaz. Swifty with the shot, and that was awkward for Clapped as they doubled up on that one.
Yeah, at the moment, both teams really going back and forth. It is an attacking game of Rocket League. Both defenses are very good as well, it has to be said, but at the moment, they're just both saying, okay, you're going to have a bit of time of attacking, now it's my turn. And here's a chance, Mr. Chaz, turn on this one, and yeah, it's a bump, but Sin gets the save.
And Sin is the hero there. And it was a well-worked move by Breakdown Krypton with the bump, an intelligent bump. Death Smiles here in the midfield, able to pick up possession, but he hands it right over to Mr. Chaz, who can play it back into the middle. No one there for Breakdown Krypton, and Sin bangs into the backboard. Overload looking to get a shot away, and it's Sin, and the deadlock is broken. We've got a 1-0 here in Game 2. It's Collapsed Esports who take the lead.
Sin was looking for Overload, but Overload just missed it, but then the defense didn't pick up Sin coming right down the middle again, and he was able to slot it home between 2 defenders and make it 1-0.
1-0, 1.5 minutes played, and Krypton now on the back foot. It's Collapsed Esports who are looking to change things here in the series and get a game on the board, but they will need to shut up shop and they will need to keep creating chances if they want to better Krypton here. Krypton surely looking for a response immediately, but it's Overload who gets past 2, goes for the 50 against Swifty. Death Smiles just not able to get on the end of that one, and now it's Sin who tries to take over. Swifty in a good position on the wall, and he will get a touch. Death Smiles now on the attack for Collapsed Esports. That will come off the backboard. Overload lurking, but it's a good downfield pass, and Swifty surely able to get on the end of this one. Gets the shot to the backboard, and it's Droopy picking up the pieces. 1-1.
Swifty again, just the man of the moment. Gets the ball. The pass downfield is great, to be fair, from Mr. Chaz, but then Swifty sees Droopy in the middle and once again puts it the only place he can where the defenders can't reach it. 1-1. And this game has just got interesting. From the kickoff, Chaz has done well, and Swifty's got a chance off the backboard. Denied by Death Smiles, and they managed to get away with this. But interesting match so far. Death Smiles will take this up in the corner, and they can reset.
And it is Breakdown Krypton who are back into this game. And now a long shot, putting Death Smiles in an awkward position. Just manages to save it off his own crossbar, but he won't get a follow. And Breakdown Krypton, they look to be the ones who are more composed at the moment going forward. Collapsed Esports, well aware that they're 1 game down, and if they lose this one, it will put Krypton onto match point, and you can't have that. It's now Droopy banging it up to Mr. Chaz. It's a great pass, and the pass by down. Droopy underneath, and you love to see the passing plays, Morky. You love to see it.
Yeah, that's coming from both teams so far. So going to tell Overload to go! For Death Smiles, not Overload. Sorry. Thought it was Overload, but Death Smiles once again. Good play on the wall there by Sin, who finds Death Smiles, who puts it home.
And it will be 2-1 for Collapsed Esports. And you thought for a moment that Breakdown Krypton are looking like the stronger team. They were looking to create chances off the passing plays, but a quick counter from Clapped, and it's always something you got to be careful of. And of course, Morky, we see this a lot. The passing plays, it gets a lot of people involved, and it can leave you vulnerable for the counter. And it's exactly what happened there as Clapped take the lead and make it 2-1.
Exactly, but also it's a case as well that passing plays can also open up the opposition's defense, and that's what happened because Sin got a lovely pass over to Death Smiles in the wall, and that really carved open the defense of Breakdown Krypton, and that can really work out in your favor. Sin, not a great touch you want there. Chaz will have a chance here off the backboard. Is anyone going to be waiting? Here's Droopy, but the shot's high, but it's going to float down. Death Smiles there to read it, and at the moment, they're once again under pressure. They've been clinical though in this game. That's what I would say. No! What a goal by Swifty!
Oh, what a goal. Mr. Chaz banging this one up to the backboard. Swifty with a fantastic follow, and Overload just couldn't get something on it. But you've got to praise him for that finish. He really wanted it, and they've equalized here with 1 minute on the clock.
These games are tight and they're tense, and that's what you love to see. Straight off the bat, Cypher proving to be something that every team showing up and showing out for. Can Overload do something here? He's had some moments in this game, to be fair. He has struggled the pace a bit, but in this game he has had opportunities and moments. But Swifty will try and keep this away as the ball comes back in. And do you think Collapsed Esports have one more goal in the maiden?
It's always hard to call. It's such a tight series at the moment. And game 1, it was all tied up until the last 3 seconds when Breakdown Krypton made it 2-1, and then somehow managed to sneak one in on the 0 seconds. But right now we're at 2-2, and Collapsed Esports are hoping not to relive the fears of game number 1 as Breakdown Krypton do come forward. Swifty a little far away from the play and isn't able to keep the pressure up. Death Smiles will go across to try and get this one clear, but I think, Morky, that we might be heading to overtime here.
It's looking like it unless we've jinxed them again. But it looks like our first overtime of the series is coming, and it is coming. We are into overtime. Who's going to get the goal? Will we see match point, or is the series going to be all tied up?
And it is all tied up. The next team to score will take the win. And Clapped Esports, they've got the weight on their shoulders. They're 1-0 down in the series. And if they go 2-0 down, it could be too far to come back from. At the moment, they've looked strong in Game 2. They've definitely improved from Game 1. And it's Overload with a free reign at the ball. And he does get a shot on target. This is going to drop middle. Mr. Chaz with the shot. Death Smiles forced into saving that one. Sin taking himself out of the play. Overload's got to try and get something on this. He's under pressure from Droopy. Good pressure from Droopy. There comes middle. And Sin reading it well. Getting it away, but can't keep it under control. Gets the demo and Swifty. Mr. Chaz not able to follow that one up. And it's now Overload who gets this one downfield. Droopy with a touch. It falls to Decimal's, and that's not the touch that Decimal's wanted. He invites the pressure. Swifty can't get on the end of it, and they bump into each other there as well. A little bit messy from Krypton, but Clapped Esports still under pressure here as Decimal's gets rid of the ball, and it's a bit of a ping-pong game here, Morky.
Oh, absolutely. Both teams just look like they're afraid to lose this now rather than try to win it. It's a bit desperate, looking for those plays that aren't quite there. But I Clapped seem more composed, especially in defense right now. But here come... Well, here come Breakdown Krypton again, but nice play by Overload against Droopy. But Droopy and Overload having a really good battle there in the middle.
Oh,
oh Droopy's got it by 2!
Oh, the post!
3 and no one's center!
Oh, so close for Breakdown Krypton. With 1.5 minutes played in overtime, the best chance of the overtime. But Clapped Esports managed to survive. They dodge a bullet, and it's Droopy with the pressure. Gets a shot away. It's to the post again. And what an intense game we have here for the first day and the first series of Projekt Cypher. It's game number 2, and it's Decimals who can't get on the end of that, but Sin's got plenty of time, chooses not to take his time, and that could be a mistake there, Morky, as they now invite the pressure on themselves again.
Absolutely. I think everyone but these two teams would have asked for this kind of series, because it's been very tight. A chance there, but it's not going to go. Nice defending, though, by Droopy, who then gets eliminated for his sins, but good defending at the moment. Breakdown Krypton had the better opportunities here, but they seem to be loading on one side instead of trying to find those center passes, maybe just worrying that they're going to be challenged and worrying about the breakaway goal from Clapped Esports, but that's something they have to kind of focus on less. But Overload now with a chance. Kenny got the center. The Death Smiles. Oh, he tried to fake and it almost worked. Oh, that would have been incredible, Aiden.
That would have been one to remember, but it was a 2v1, and he went for that fake. He had a teammate with him, and if he had passed it, it may have been a different story. A Droopy denied by Overload, who plays it onto the post, but finally, Krypton, they take the win. It's 3-2, and it only took them 7 minutes and 50 seconds to find a winner.
Oh, it's unlucky. It's a great save by, I don't know if it was Overload or Death Smiles, but then Sin has a chance to clear it, and he flips the wrong way, and that allows the goal to go in. It's unfortunate. It deserved a goal worthy of the game, but instead it was mostly a defensive mistake that cost Clapped Esports dearly in overtime. But that being said, Breakdown Krypton did look the more likely in overtime to take it.
And have a look at Droopy, who had 11 shots, but he only managed 1 goal. Now, you might think that's good pressure, but at the same time, surely there's got to be some question of his clinicalism. Clapped Esports, though, they do lose this one. They drop this one after fighting very, very hard and making 11 saves. But they could only manage 9 shots against the 18 from Breakdown Krypton. Mr. Chance picking up the points MVP there. And we do head into game number 3 with Breakdown Krypton on match point. And Clapped Esports in a little bit of trouble here, Morky.
Absolutely. They're going to have to really pick themselves up. It's really difficult losing a game in overtime, especially a game that puts you like this, especially when you're playing good in that second game and really maybe should have won it in regulation time. But Breakdown Krypton looked very strong in overtime, and it's going to be difficult for Clapped Esports to claw the way back into this one. And that includes winning 3 in a row, which is never an easy thing to do in any form of Rocket League.
Indeed, you got to win 3 games back-to-back now, Clapped Esports, if you want a chance at getting a 1-0 on your record in the first day. Krypton with all the momentum and now the confidence as well. Maybe that will lead to them being a little too comfortable, but at the moment, Krypton do seem to be playing the better Rocket League. They've got some better passes. They're able to string some together. They keep the pressure up well. Their only weakness is on the counter, and Clapped Esports are very quick on the transition. So that is their danger, but right now, they're probably feeling quite proud of themselves.
Oh, absolutely. So they should, but at the moment, Clapped Esports for the first time foraying into Breakdown Krypton's half overload with a chance here, but it's into the corner where unfortunately a lot of the players for Breakdown Krypton were. They play by Droopy on the back, but Mr. Charles looking out for this, but not quite able to. Swifty though is going to beat Overload, but Overload does very well to keep going, Pat, and get a nice defensive stop. It's going to be difficult for them to get back in it, but here's a chance there for a breakaway. Chaz against Death Smiles, and Chaz doing very well there, putting it under, but we're going to bump, and Sin now will have a chance here. Oh, he waited too long for it. Needed to be a bit more clinical there.
And I just get the feeling that Clapped, they rush things a little too much. It's like they're trying not to lose rather than trying to win, and that really is the difference. That's a fantastic pass. Oh, and the touchback down to Sin as well. And Clapped Esports definitely feeling a little scammed that they couldn't finish that one. But again, the final product is just lacking, and it's really that has been the story for Clapped Esports in this series. It's that last pass, it's that final ball, it's the last shot that they can't quite finish. Again, another chance, but it's Mr. Chaz who manages to get it away and is awarded the save. But after a minute and a half, Morky, we're still at 0-0.
Yeah, it's a lot more cagey affair this time. The last two games have been. Even Breakdown Krypton aren't as dominant in midfield or really putting that pressure on. Both teams seem to realize that the end is in sight, perhaps. And both teams seem either afraid to win it or afraid to lose it at the moment. But definitely right now, Clapped Esports have had the better opportunities, just have not been able to string them together. And at the moment, a lot of pressure coming on the Breakdown Krypton defense, but they're managing to do well. Mr. Chaz now, lovely pass up to Swifty. Swifty with the attempted shot, but denied by Sin. And Clapped Esports, can they continue this pressure rate? And that is the question. Can they keep it up and actually convert a chance?
Indeed, Clapped Esports are getting forward. They're creating some opportunities, but it's just the final product that is letting them down. Swifty now with the shot, and he sneaks it past this, Miles. And it is going to be 1-0 for Breakdown Krypton.
The first real chance, and once again, Sin indecisive in defense and not allowed Swifty just to put it in. Still a good shot by Swifty, but the ball should never have came back to him.
And Krypton, it's looking good for them. If they hold on to this lead, they will be the first team to take a win in Projekt Cypher. Overload now, trying to get it away from his own backboard, but a big mistake, and it invites the shot from Droopy. A fantastic reaction from Decimal to get the save. Swifty now trying to play it across, and there's an open net. Sin gets on the end of it. Droopy will get there in time, and he does manage to keep that score at 1-0. Breakdown Krypton a little lucky to still be in the lead, as Clapped have a fantastic opportunity on the counter, and we've talked about it earlier, that Clapped on the transition play are very quick, and they look dangerous every time they get it going. But again, it's the final product that has let them down. And Sin there plays it back to Death Smiles. Not sure that's exactly what they first had in mind, but they do manage to stay in possession. It is now again with Breakdown Krypton as Overload takes this up the backboard and is now in a very awkward position as Mr. Chaz is invited to shoot. This ball going high, Overload underneath it, and he's got to take his time. He's got so much space in front of him, and Clapped Esports really just not making the most of the space in front of them.
Yeah, that has been the issue. They're panicking a little bit now. They're behind. They know that time is ticking away very slowly. It's going to feel like every second is only half a second for them, but they need to have that consistency. They need to just take a breath and think about what they're doing. They just seem to be hitting the ball and hope now. That's a good shot. It's a good pinch off the wall. Can someone get there? Oh. No! That was a chance. Really? Overload. No. Can Beer forward. That's a big pass to the Sin. If he can get to it, no! Again, stalling a little bit. Just waiting for the ball to fall perfectly rather than chasing the shot aid.
Time is running out for Clapped. It is still 1-0 for Krypton. And Clapped have had their fair share of opportunities. But I think their biggest demon here has been the fact that they do not control the ball enough. They keep giving possession back to Krypton. Whenever they get space and time in front of them, they don't really take it, but a shot from range from Overload. and Swifty will keep it out of the net, and there's only 30 seconds now. It's now or never for Clapped Esports. They've got to keep the pressure up here. It's all or nothing as Death Smiles monkeying at the ball there, tries to get it past Droopy. It's Overload with the follow, can't get the shot on target. Droopy on the backboard will pop it up, and Sin is there, and the ball is down, and it is 1-1. Clapped Esports are so far surviving, but is it gonna be enough?
By the skin of their teeth, but Sin was a fall for the goal on the other side. This time takes advantage of a bad touch by Droopy, puts it in 1-1, and there is less than 10 seconds left now. Are we going to see overtime again?
I would love to hear the Clapped Esports comms right now. They say this is it, this is where we turn it around. We will likely be getting another overtime as Droopy bangs that one over to the corner. That ball will come down, and we get the second overtime of the series here in game number 3. These two teams very evenly matched here, and what a show we've been allowed to witness here, Morky.
Absolutely, even the chat is saying all the neutrals are asking for a game 4, but at the moment it's all up to the players in the pitch whether that happens or not. Breakdown Krypton will want to end this right here, right now, and Collapse know they've got a chance to come back into this. Overload doing very well there, but denied by Droopy. It was actually Overload there, probably should have challenged. There's no one really near midfield at all, but anyway it goes. But at the moment, Clapped Esports starting very brightly. Good save by Swifty.
And indeed, a great save by Swifty to keep it all tied up, and it's Clapped Esports just coming at Krypton at the moment. They've got all the pressure. They're creating havoc in the back. Decimal's getting another good touch into the center. No one able to follow, but it is Sin who can now put some pressure on if he can get on the end of this one, but he completely whiffs it. Only gets a smell of the ball, and Mr. Chaz takes over, but again, another good step in by Overload as he takes control of the ball, and Death Smiles is able to clear it out. It's a good clear, but he can't get around Swifty. Overload now the only man back for Clapped, and he does play it to the wall for himself very, very well. Gets it over Droopy, gets it not quite through Mr. Chaz, who is awarded a save here. The pinch from the wall for Droopy for the clear. Falls for Death Smiles. Now Death Smiles dropping back, allowing Swifty the touch. Overload up to challenge Mr. Chaz there, and it is impossible to call who will get the next goal. The way the game has been going so far, you'd expect that Clapped will break through, but will they be heartbroken at the end of this one?
It is looking dangerous for them now, but they managed to relieve the pressure and get out, and that's important. But the ball goes right back to Krypton. Droopy looking to get it by Sin, does do it, but Overload takes a really nice touch, but then gets bumped out of the way. Nice play again by Droopy. Swifty there waiting, but can't quite find it. Bit of a double commit in midfield there by Breakdown Krypton. And Death Smiles able to get this away into the corner. Swifty's there, puts it over him nicely. Most he could do, but right now, Clapped Esports are looking like they're putting a lot of pressure on their opponents. But they have a real opportunity. Here's the chance.
And there it is. Oh, Morky. We've got a series. We've got a game 4. Clapped Esports. What did I say earlier? They got the 1-1, and they said to each other, this is where we turn it around. They're back in the series. They've got a win on the board, and if they get 2 more, they will create broken hearts for Breakdown Krypton.
Absolutely. Well, it's what the fans want. It's what we want as well. It's been a fascinating series so far. Sin getting man of the match, getting both goals and a save. This time, Breakdown Krypton outshot 10-4. Absolutely amazing turnaround for Clapped Esports with a fantastic game. It looked like for a minute their heart was going to be broken, even though they're a better team in it. But for all the chances they had, they finally converted a few, and that puts them only a game back from leveling this series up.
Yeah, we spoke about it before we started with game number 3, that if they do get a win, they still have to get 2 more in a row, which is quite the challenge. But they do have a bit of momentum here now, and if they can carry that forward, and what we saw in game 1 was Overload, the sub playing for maybe Jules for Clapped Esports, had a little bit of a slow start to the series, but now it seems he's fully awake and he's ready to go for game number 4.
I think he was the big difference between game 2 and 3, honestly, for him. He played a lot of good balls into the center, was doing well in midfield, but here he is again, straight away, right from the start. Is he going to be a difference maker for his team? That is the big question, Aiden.
He could very well be, and he would be the hero of the day. The sub coming in to fill in, already a hero, allowing his team to still play and be there to step in for their captain. It's Overload with the save. Swifty looking to get that one down, and it could have been a very, very nice goal for Breakout. Sin doing well to take control of it there, but he can't get it past Mr. Chaz. Mr. Chaz now trying to drop that one in. Death Smiles reacting quickly, gets it out wide. Droopy coming back same side, but sees his teammate Swifty go for the ball and allows him the space. It's well done by Breakdown to fix the same side rotation, and Swifty can bang it in. The pass came straight to him. Droopy getting a good read on Sin's attempted clear, and Swifty in the perfect position to capitalize, and he makes it 1-0.
Can't even blame Sin there. He was just trying to get it clear, and Droopy knew where Swifty was, got the pass, and Swifty put it the only place he could to put it home, right inside the post. But the equalizer straight away from Overload.
And Overload, we were just talking about him. Will he be the hero for his team? And well, right now, it's a very quick response from Clapped. Straight from the click-off, they equalize and make it 1-1. But there's still plenty of time to go. 4 minutes, 12 seconds. And we had to wait a lot longer to get a first goal in the previous game. So, will this one be a goal fest, Morky?
I think it's looking like so now both teams have woken up, and neither team are saying we want to lose this now. They're both like, we want to win this. They're both opening up more, finding more opportunities, getting those passes. It'd be a lovely attempt, but that Smiles can't put it on target. But Droopy now with a chance. Can he put the center for someone? Oh, nice attempt, but a bit too close to the keepers and the defenders there. And now for chance to transition for Death Smiles, but he gets challenged by Swifty, who gets another nice touch there, giving us time to reset. Definitely the midfield now becoming the battlefield that's going to decide this one, Aiden.
It is the midfield battle that is always so crucial. Droopy with very good control gets it past one. Overload will get it away. That goes straight to Sin. It's a fantastic downfield pass to get on that transition, and it's what Clapped Esports do very well. But Death Smiles has been caught out, and Krypton make it 2-1. Sin just couldn't keep control of that ball. He gave it right over to Swifty. Death Smiles surely got to save that one, but he watches it as it goes into that bottom right corner, and Krypton, they step up into the lead again.
Yeah, he was Death Smiles when was expecting Sin to win the challenge. Was going for it a bit too early. Still a chance to save it. Here's a chance to get right back. He does. Wow.
Fantastic stuff by Clapped. Both times they go down in the game, but very quick responses straight from the kickoff. You love to see it. It's determination from Clapped.
Absolutely. They're not going down without a fight. They've had chances this game as well, but every time they've gone down, they've responded instantly, and that has got to be soul-crushing for Breakdown Krypton, because they have been good as well, but every time they score, they just get equalized on, and that has got to hurt. And it could be the recipe that Clapped Esports might need to win this game. Hit them when it hurts most. Mr. Chaz with a chance, a lovely shot. Good save, though, by Overload, who has played fantastically so far. There is Swifty, lovely pinch onto the backboard. Sin making, Sin again. Bit indecisive in defense. Chaz has gone. Swifty, surely. It's it. It's 3-2.
Oh, dearie, dearie me, Clapped. And that is an absolute mare. Sin double committing there with Death Smiles. A very, very awkward, and they've given them the open net, but hold our horses. We didn't get too excited with the Krypton goal, because we'll Clapped score right from the kickoff again. It's Sin following up, but this time that ball goes back into the Clapped half, and it's Swifty with the follow, and they double their lead and make it 4-2.
Well, there was another kickoff goal after Krypton scored, but this time it's for Krypton. Chaz with a dominant kickoff. Swifty reads it perfectly, and in it goes right in the corner. Lovely play by Swifty.
And we've had 6 goals in just half a game. More goals than we've seen in any of the previous games of this series. It's really opened up. Both these teams have got going. And you know what? I don't think it's over. There's still only 2 goals in it and half the game to be played. We've already had 6 goals in one half. There's plenty of time for Clapped to find a way back.
Especially if Clapped do a breakdown. Krypton just did a second ago. Score and then score for the kickoff. It has been a game of quick goals in that regard. It's rare to see so many kickoff goals in threes, but here's a chance for Droopy. Death Smiles can't quite get the save, but could that be it now?
Oh, and that's got to hurt, Clapped. You're already 2 goals down. Death Smiles was in the way, but it's a very good low 50 by Droopy. Gets the soft block and manages to force it through. I wonder if he asked for consent on that one.
Anyway, back to the game. There's a chance, and now Clap Esports have to score the next goal, and they have to score it soon. Not a great touch there from Droopy, but they get away with the defenders bailing him out. Then Swifty decides to break downs on the pole, but it works out okay for them.
Right now, you collapse Esports, you're 3 goals down. Really, you've just got to throw everything at it. You've got to take the risk. You've got to get forward. There's no time for damage control. It's all about getting forward, creating opportunities. But right now, it's Mr. Chaz creating opportunities for Breakdown Krypton. Sin misses that one, and you can see here just how Clapped have been a little bit rattled by the 3-goal lead by Breakdown Krypton. And it is a shot from Deathsmile. Swifty with a very good save. Overload look to follow it. He gets a bump there on Swifty, but not enough to take him away from the ball. It's Sin with the pressure, trying to get it out to Deathsmiles. This will fall to Overload. Surely plays this one to the backboard. Deathsmiles waiting on the backboard, but he can't direct it into the net. Droopy trying to get it away, and it is very good pressure from Clap. They're keeping the possession very well, and they really had to do this earlier in the game.
Yeah, definitely. They had chances. They let them slip a little bit. They score the 2 equalizing goals from kickoff, but since then, Krypton have been more clinical in this game by far, and that might be all she wrote. With 44 seconds left, is there going to be one last opportunity for a goal? You think it has to come soon. If the next one goes in for Krypton, a bit of a double commit midfield, this could be a chance. But the pinch off the backboard, not good enough. It goes right to Mr. Chaz, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Put a bow on it.
Yeah, I think that's all over. I don't think there's any way back into this for Clapped Esports, and it is sad to see it was 2-2, but then once Breakdown Krypton got their third, they kind of just crumbled, and now it's a 4-goal lead for Krypton with only 30 seconds left in the game, and well, Krypton, they will be the first team to win a game, to win a series in Projekt Cypher, and that will technically put them into first place.
Good way to start out your Projekt Cypher experience, and as well, it puts them 1 game away from the last 16 as well, which is even more significant. But they've been the more clinical team, and as we said, they've dominated midfield a bit better than their opponents. Probably deserve the series. I am glad Clap did manage to get a game back because they deserved it. What a close series. Well played to both teams, but ultimately, Breakdown Krypton just too strong.
Indeed, Breakdown Krypton, they were just that little bit more composed, and when they came forward, they had the support that they needed, and they didn't just bang balls away. They managed to keep it close, they looked for the passing plays, they looked in field, and they kept making it difficult for Clapped. Every time Clapped got on the ball, they just couldn't quite keep their calm and stay composed, and a lot of long banged away hits for Clapped, and that really could have been the difference here in the first series of Projekt Cypher.
Yeah, Clap Esports are going to have a difficult time in this group after losing the first game, but you know they've showed a lot of grit, and a lot of determination there. They definitely got a chance if they play like that, but they need to be more clinical, and they need to, you know, when they have chances and they're getting those infield passes, they're finding the infield passes very well. You just couldn't finish the opportunities, or perhaps they're panicking a bit in defense. If they can fix those things up, they have a real chance, I think, of winning the next 2 games.
It's true. They do drop down into that loser bracket, which does mean that they will have a chance to redeem themselves against another team which will have lost a game.
Exactly, and that is the big thing for them. And if they can manage to perform this well again once more, then they've got a good chance of winning the next game and then giving themselves a 1-match win-and-you're-in situation in round 3 of the Swiss stage.
Indeed, they have set themselves up well. Breakdown Krypton, they will now be going up against another winner. But Ben, welcome back. What do you make of that series?
Well, I don't think, honestly, I hope I'm proved wrong, but I don't think there was a better game that we could have opened up with. That was one of the incredible series that was. Yeah, after that game 3 overtime, you see Clapped get the game back. You sort of think this could go to game 5. It could be a reverse sweep on the cards maybe, but in the end, Breakdown Krypton got the job done. But yeah, what a fantastic series.
An absolutely fantastic series. Morky, I know that you don't have a lot longer with us here on the analyst panel because you have got to go and cast an IGL final game. And I have seen Nichtkind Plan in the chat going, oh, wait for Morky, we're waiting for Morky. But yeah. Morky, if you want to just quickly wrap up your thoughts of what you thought of this series.
I thought both teams from the start were going at it very, very hammer and tongs. There was no kind of hesitation from either team. Breakdown Krypton took their opportunities slightly better, and that was the big difference at the end. But both teams played very well, and both teams have a really strong chance of getting through to the last 16, in my opinion. Swifty, as I said, he was going to be very important, and he really dominated that midfield for Breakdown Krypton, and that was the key difference, I think.
Absolutely, I think there was definitely one of the key differences. Ben Plug, what do you take on that?
Yeah, I think it was the game 3 was really the turning point of the series. Right? It should have been a turning point in the series because it was the only game in the series where Claps really felt like they got to grips with the game. They had so much pressure. There were so many good passes, and they managed to stay in their opponent's half. And rather than just giving possession away, they managed to look for those infield passes. They really tried to work their way around the Breakdown Krypton defense. And yeah, that was the game that they won. And I was about to say, when it was 16 seconds on the clock and they were still 1-0 down, I was about to come into the analyst segment and say, oh well, they looked like they were only just getting into the series at that point. Like if it had gone on maybe a bit longer, they could have maybe shown them go a bit further. But no, they sort of they seemed to fall apart slightly in game number 4. They couldn't hold the same pressure. They seemed to have a bit more of a panic behind them. And Breakdown Krypton, they just took their chances amazingly all the way through the series. Like Swifty in particular was absolutely clinical, scored 4 goals in game number 4, putting in some great infield passes earlier in the series. And yeah, Breakdown Krypton deserved winners, but Clapped really showed in that game number 3 what they can be capable of. And hopefully that's the Clapped that we see later on in the tournament.
I think that Clap definitely had a hard time. Morky, you are allowed to go and cast your IGL final. I wish you best of luck with that one, and I hope it's just as enjoyable as this series.
I hope so too. Thank you for having me, and see you again soon.
See you soon, Morky.